welcome to We're Not Wizards. My name's Richard.
And my name is Rory.
And this, and as I say, this is We're Not Wizards, and this is a special show tonight, because joining me tonight, and he needs no introduction, this is Rory J Somers.
That's me.
And Rory has joined us tonight because he is a fantastic chap, and he has... From the top of the show, I'm just going to say he's done nothing but support us. He retweets our stuff. He follows us. He retweets us. He's bought one of our t-shirts.
I have, bought two.
You can't get better than that. You bought two?
Well, I bought one, and then because it took so long to turn up, Redbubble sent me another one. So
that's good.
I've got two.
You've sporting them. I'm not even sporting my t-shirt tonight. It's terrible. We should have worn it like a uniform, really.
We should have. Mine is in reaching distance if you want me to change.
No, I don't.
For a podcast.
No. Exactly. And now Rory's changing it for the camera. And yes. I'm going to tell you what he's wearing. And, oh, that's an unusual tattoo you've got there, young man. How inventive. The reason that we do this is because, quite simply, there's not enough podcasts about board games. Two guys just giving their opinions about some popular cardboard. We have scoured the internet. I think we almost reached the end of the internet trying to find it. We didn't find many at all. And the second reason that we do this is because I've got Rory on the show. And Rory had to have his own episode.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah.
Honoured to be on. Thank you, Richard, for having me.
I mean, the pleasure's mine. I mean, as I say, this is weird because I can see you on camera, but I'm kind of looking into the microphone, so it's a bit kind of weird. So,
well, you have lovely ears, so it's the view from here is fine.
Just gonna turn the PC around so you can't see I'm gonna hide behind the microphone now. How are you doing anyway? You well?
I am very well indeed. Yeah, been a lovely couple of weeks actually. So yeah, doing very well.
Good. You've been up to much kind of cardboard stuff?
I haven't been up to nearly as much as I usually am. I've just started a new job. So my cardboarding has become a little bit more app-based cardboard, but squeezing in a couple of solo games of stuff here and there. So
that's good.
Yeah, trying to show off to the new guys at work how cool I am with my cardboard.
And see, that's an interesting thing. And we'll come back to that in a second, but before we start, as I say, we always talk about somebody's history. Mm-hmm. So, how did you get into the hobby? Tell us a little bit about, because we want to have a little look back at the past. We want to have a little stare in the middle at the present, and then we want to have a peek off into the distant summer. And you can actually see. And I do this. See, Rory, what we don't realise is I've got the webcam on. I don't usually have the webcam on, and I do the same action if people could see me or not, just to remind myself I've got to say the word future. Yeah. So I am actually peering off into the future, so this is a bit of, Yeah. Anyway, tell us a little bit about your history.
My history? I started, like a lot of people, when I was like pre-teen in the Warhammer world.
All right.
And I did that, and then I got really, really into Warhammer Quest. Like the old school Warhammer Quest, and I had all the expansions and had a warrior dwarf who couldn't die and a pit fighter who could only ever kill spiders. And then from there, I moved into kind of proper Warhammer. Worked for Games Workshop for a few years.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, 18 and went and got a job there, and it was great fun. Probably the best job I've ever had. Just sitting, painting toy soldiers, playing with toy soldiers, talking to people about toy soldiers, reading books about toy soldiers.
Did you have to have long hair?
No, I didn't. I didn't have to have. In fact, in the store when I worked, no one had long hair. We were all like crew cut.
Really?
Yeah, crew cut, bustling men.
Skinheads.
Yes, we were all just skinheads.
Intimidating people. Oh no, you don't want you don't want that. You want
you don't want Magnus Kelgar. Nobody wants Magnus Kelgar.
You want Necromunda.
Yes.
Send them over there. Oh, what's
More dime's the new thing, so.
Exactly. Oh, that looks like it's orcs you're looking at, mate. Dark Elves is where you want to go. No, I like orcs. No. Timmy, tell them what we do to people that don't pick up Dark Elves instead of orcs.
We crush them.
So, you're working away at Games Workshop.
Yep. And then I kind of decided I needed to grow up, and that was probably early 20s. And then I kind of left the hobby for a little while, and then an old friend of mine came up to visit me. He's a very enviably talented man who works for a computer games company doing fantastic artwork. And he came up and he bought this board game, and he was like, we're going to play this board game, and it's called Pandemic. And we played that, and I've never looked back. It's just been gorging on as much cardboard as I can fit into my grubby little hands since then.
In your mouth.
Yeah, in my mouth.
Guy goes
Past
into the
red
kitchen.
meeples.
Goes into the kitchen, gets himself a cup of coffee, comes back, and you've got just like a mouthful of meeples and stuff, and the cubes from Pandemic.
And cubes and cards sticking out of like random facial orifices.
What are you doing? And then
I want it all.
And then you turn and face him, and you've got 2 Pandemic cubes up your nose, and you just sniff out violently, so they shoot across the floor.
I'm infected.
They hit the board and they land on Beijing.
Yeah.
It causes an outbreak.
Yeah, naturally. It's always Beijing.
So where'd you go from here?
After that, that's when I started buying and shopping around for myself. So shortly after that, I discovered the Thirsty Meeples in Oxford, which was kind of a mecca of board gaming for me. Spent an awful lot of money. Started doing that there. I just got completely absorbed with it all. And then in the last few years, it's become a little bit more serious. And in January, beginning of this year, I went along to ITB's Game Jam with a buddy of mine and took part in that. And then after I won with my team, obviously, won the Game Jam and decided I wanted to give back to the community. And that's where I started writing. And then it went from writing to blogging about designing games and stuff to reviewing games. So I've been reviewing games on my site and also for Zati more recently. And that's where I am today. That brings us crashing into the present.
Fantastic. What you been playing? What's been tickling the Somers fancy at the moment?
There's kind of 2 games that I've been playing a lot of recently. Plague Inc. and Sub Terra. So Plague Inc. from Endemic Creations, and of course I think I post a lot on Twitter about every time I play Sub Terra because it's a flipping brilliant game.
I must admit I've not really heard of Sub Terra.
Have you not?
No.
Missed it.
No, it's just the name. I just can't. My it's just a complete Blenkharn in my mind.
It's brilliant.
What's it like? Because obviously we had Peter on, and Peter's like almost like. He's like almost like a host he's on so often. Do you know what I mean? He comes in, he's got his little place where he sits. We get the custard creams in because Peter is mad daft for a custard cream. If Peter Blenkharn ever comes round your house and you don't have custard creams, he just stares at you and strokes his beard while he's doing it and just goes, "No custard creams in." It's like, "Sorry, Peter, we couldn't get to the shop. We had to go, to the vets with my cat because it was ill. And so you couldn't have picked up some custard creams on the way back?" "No, we couldn't." "That's lies. We don't have a vet. We don't have a cat." From somebody who is looking at from the outside, who has no affiliation or anything like that to Sub Terra, what is it like as a game? How is it playing?
It is very exciting, I think, is probably the best 2 words I could use to describe Sub Terra. It has a wonderful narrative to it as you're flipping tiles and exploring this cave system. It evolves on the table. So I say two games are never the same. You can have channels, you can have it all interlinking, which is, I think, ideally what you want it to do. You want to have it all T-junctions and cross-junctions to come back, so it's a central hub of interwoven links, but invariably it doesn't happen like that, and you have offshoots and horrors and slides and cliffs and pinch points. It really is really quite anxiety driving when you're going, shall I exert myself? Shall I just flip over this one more tile? Do we hold back? Then you look at this deck of cards as they're diminishing, and that's the batteries in your torches that are dying, and you get to that last one and it's more or less game over. If you can't see the exit by that point, you're a goners. It's brilliant. It's been a long time since I've played a game, and as soon as it's finished, I've just hungry for the next one. It's like, right, set it up. We need to do this again and again. It's been a long time since I had that feeling, probably back when I very first got into the board game, the hobby, where everything is quite compulsive. You finish it and you've got to go again and again and again to master a game or to really get another fix of that. But Sub Terra is the first one that's come along in quite a long time where it's been, that needs to just be played right now.
That's strong words. I mean, that is...
I mean, as a testament, so I play on a Wednesday night is probably my big board game night.
Yeah.
Immediately after work, and I took the guys, took my box in, signed by Tim Pinder very nicely, and I said, right guys, we're going to play this, and I gave them the spiel, and we sat down and we played it, and that night, I had 2 of the 3 of them message me saying, where can I buy this? I need to buy this game. And then the following day at lunch, I said, right, if you guys are interested, if we all pitch in, we can all do like a group order. Yeah. And, get them all shipped in as the boat arrives. As soon as it gets into Southampton, we'll be there, like, getting our own boxes off. And all done. So, the 5 guys that I've introduced to it, all 5 of them have now pre-ordered it to get in as soon as it's off the boat. It's compulsive. It's a brilliant game.
It's like a Tupperware party.
Exactly, yeah. It's going on.
You get the extra expansions at the same time. No, it's good to hear because obviously it's you see the market in and you see the brilliant job that Peter did in building the community. So it's really interesting to hear firsthand somebody that's got their hands on the game. Of course, the question is, how did you get your hands on the game?
I picked mine up at the Games Expo. So I was there for all 3 days. I volunteered for ITB, so I helped them do the get in on the Thursday and the get out on the Sunday, as well as demoing the statecraft. I was demoing on the Sunday as well. Okay. So I was there, and I picked up a copy of Molecular, and I picked up a copy of statecraft, and I picked up a copy of Sub Terra, even though 2 of them are currently on a boat on their way to me anyway. I just needed them.
Right. I've got one I'm going to use during the week, and then I've got one I'm going to keep for Sunday, and you're going to put a little suit around it.
Well, that's it. I've got all the copies I've got now. They're all signed by the designer, and they're all sat in a special place, and I'm the only one that's allowed to take the lid off. And I've got to wear gloves when I do it.
It's like, what do you think you're doing? I was just having a look at the components, Rory. No, don't.
3 foot. 3 foot. You stay 3 foot away from me.
Where's your dust suit? You gotta go through the contamination booth. What does this? It might look like cardboard to you, but this is life to me.
This is life.
And you mentioned Plague Incorporated. Now, I know Plague Incorporated from the mobile game that was
yes,
which was I guess the way to look at it was big a man's contemplatory sitting position type game.
Yes, definitely. It's definitely one of those. But it's I was a big fan of the app when the app game kind of came out. I heard about it and got onto that and found it quite addictive, as I think most app games are. And then I saw the board game. Didn't even know it had been turned into a board game until I saw it at the expo, and I was just like, you know what, I'm quite happy to risk 30 quid on that. Man, quite frivolous and compulsive with my board games.
Just like that with the money.
Yeah.
Just like that
stuff. So I'm not flush at all. I think if I'm going to be eating probably some of my lower ranked games by the end of this month.
Really?
Yeah.
Such a bad thing. It's such a bad thing.
I've got lots of Carcassonne expansions that I'm not playing, so I'm going to start with those.
Well, I think Carcassonne's like the kind of the rich tea of board games. And then you go to, okay, let's go into a big analogy. You do your monthly shop on payday. You go to the biscuit section.
Yeah.
You got your rich tea.
Yeah.
Because you got to get your rich tea in. Right?
Yeah.
And then you got your custard cream.
Obviously, just in case Peter turns up.
And you might, you never know when he's going to.
You never know.
Beard just comes out the bush, and next thing you know, he's there, staring.
Staring.
And then you might be cheeky and get party rings.
Yeah, of course.
Because if you want the kids to be hyper,
And
do
who
you know what
doesn't
I mean?
want that?
It's like there you go, kid. Have a pink one. You just watch him run about the room until he gets dizzy. But that's kind of like your board games, isn't it? You kind of got, and you've always got your Carcassonne. You've always kind of got your rich tea.
And I think they need a place on everyone's shelf.
Absolutely. The thing about the expansions with Carcassonne is it's kind of like just more rich tea to me. And people are going to go, oh, how dare you? But I've played Carcassonne quite a few times, and the expansions, they add a little bit of flavour, but it's almost like you're changing the drink you're dunking the rich tea into. You're not, not necessarily changing. There you go.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, it's tea, coffee, latte, hot chocolate. There you go. That's what you need. That's what Carcassonne is.
And then one mistake, Ribena.
Rich tea and a Ribena?
Why not?
Do
you know what would be good?
Yeah.
Rich tea and apple jelly.
Apple jelly?
Apple jelly. My gran used to give me a rich tea biscuit and an apple jelly. She used to go into the scullery, because this is Scotland, so either to the scullery or the press. Once she got her messages, and this is just sounds like a different line, but she'd come back from the co-op with her bag full of messages.
Right.
She'd walk in, and she'd, obviously, it'd have like apple jelly, so she bought some apple jelly, and it was just like apple. It was apple jam, basically.
Okay.
And she'd go, there you go, there's a wee treat, son. And she'd either do one of two things, yeah? She'd get a rich tea, she'd stick some apple jelly on it, and she'd give you that, and it tasted really nice. Or,
right,
she'd get some white bread.
Okay.
She'd get some proper butter.
Right.
She'd spread the butter on the bread. Mm-hmm. And then she'd put sugar on top of it.
Just a sugar sandwich.
Pretty much. But it tastes like cake.
Oh,
well, we were young and, when she was young and poor, that's all that she could have. So in other words, in essence, she was probably eating something like Settlers of Catan. And that's the end of the analogy.
I love it.
That's the end of the analogy. So there you go.
Done.
End. Finish. Mic drop.
Yeah.
Dog. There we go. So, Plague Incorporated.
Yes.
It's kind of like Pandemic's annoying little brother.
I thought that, but it's quite different.
It's opposite, isn't it? Because you're the plague.
And then, it is. It's a really interesting little area control game with, it is quite swingy, but, you have the country cards come out, and you've got to put more countries on the table, on the board, every single turn, or you've got to burn one, and that allows you to kind of replenish your traits, which you need to make your pathogen more virulent and more dangerous.
Yeah.
And that gets really interesting as well when you have to burn that off, and when you don't want to put more countries on, or you want to stop an opponent getting it. There's these lovely little nuances and these lovely little tough decisions that you've got to make through every game, and I think there's a real evolution in them. When you play from one game to your fifth or fourth game and so on, how your tactics just get refined and you become less open to the suggestion of this country's good, and you're trying to really look for the win. But when everyone's doing that, it gets very, very competitive, and it's like there's such great, lovely backstabbing moments in that game where you just CDC are in this country, you can't go there at all. And I'm going to put a nuclear strike on China. You've all lost it, and no one gets any points. Yeah.
Well, that's what happens in the game. The game is you build up your virus and you change DNA, or you add DNA, or you
add to your DNA. Yeah.
You make it more resistant to the cold or less resistant to the cold, but. Is it just a card game, or does it come with a board and stuff?
No, it's a board game with cards. Cool. There's a little bit of die rolling in there as well.
Okay.
To kill a country, you've got to roll a number that is equal to or lower than your lethality, and your lethality will increase as you buy more lethal cards, which are generally more expensive. But you've got to spend your victory points to get those cards on the table. So it really does swing back and forth, and between who's in front can suddenly become right behind, but they've got now a more deadly disease. And you can accidentally take yourself off the board as well, which is very dangerous. It's a really good fun game. The player interaction on that is surprising for the type of game it is, because you really just kick 7 shades of hell out of each other in that. It's brutal. Really is brutal.
I've always I kind of was going to play the Pandemic the other day, and then we played something else. But no, Plague Incorporated I used to play all the time on the mobile, so I'll definitely check it out, because I like the idea of building something up and then being able to wipe people out and kind of kick their arses.
But one of the most interesting things about the game is it's really captured the essence of the app, but without being a direct copy of it. And there's so much scope for the board game for expansions. So the cure doesn't even come into the board game. It's not even mentioned. It's my disease versus your disease. Who's going to kill humanity first?
See, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Really, really, really nice, fun game.
So, one thing we said a little while ago, you changed jobs. As he gets him right in the middle of him getting a drink. Answer me now.
Okay.
You changed jobs.
Yes, yeah.
Beforehand, you used to do this lovely post on Twitter on a regular basis, which was your lunchtime
lunch break
gaming
games,
bit.
Yeah.
So you used to go on, and basically, you need to go and follow Rory on Twitter. You just stop, pause the podcast, and you need to go and follow Rory on Twitter right now. And you can find him at Rory, Rory, J, which is the letter J, and then Somers, which is S. I'm doing important work here.
Yeah.
SOM for Mike, ERS, because you just put out some content there, without exception. You got your lunchtime games, and then you play a game at lunchtime. You put some lovely little photographs up there. You tell people what you've been playing, and I guess the idea of the lunchtime or the lunch break games is that you play a game within a lunch break, and it's something that's not Twilight Imperium or Eclipse or Rex or anything like that. It's something you can get in, you can get out, and everybody can have a quick game, yeah?
Yeah, and everything. It's all done on a kind of a standard, 3-foot square lunch table. You don't need a lot of space, so we're playing a lot of smaller card games, really small board games. Tile placement, played a little bit of, was it Mind Out not so long ago, and that's a really nice little game from Brain Crack Games.
Yes.
Nice little, 3x3 or 4x3 grid. Brilliant game.
Lewis, sure.
That is Lewis, yeah.
Lewis.
Really nice. Really like that game. Again, quite cutthroat.
Yeah. No, he did Farsight recently. We're interested to see what happens with
yes, he
with
did,
that
yeah.
one. Yes, yeah. What's been the favourite game out of the lunch break ones that you've done? What's the kind of the one so far that you kind of stood out and you went, this is better than it was, or I'm enjoying the shortness of it, or I'm enjoying the fact that we can get straight into it?
Star Realms. It kind of has to be Star Realms, hands down.
Are you playing online?
I am, yeah. I'm stuck on the campaign. That campaign is ridiculously difficult.
Do you play competitively at all?
Not really competitively. It's I will play and you will beat me.
Really?
Oh, I suck on that.
Really? What's your username?
It is.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Rory J Somers.
I was expecting something maybe cleverer, but
no.
Okay, here we go. So, there's a pile of people that are playing me at the moment at Star Realms. I've got one of my mates, Jason, who's playing with. I'm playing with all the guys from Staying In as well. Constant battles between me and Dan Frost on a regular basis.
Is that some sort of vendetta? Is it?
No, it's not. It's not Dan at all. I've mucked up again. I can't believe it. I'm editing that out. I'm not letting that go. Chris, Dan doesn't play. See, this is the thing. You mentioned Staying In now, and I automatically say Dan Frost, just in case I miss him out, even though he doesn't play Star Realms. So I'm playing, that's Staying In now. I'm playing, I'm playing, Chris Darby.
Yeah.
And I'm playing Sam. And I'm playing Peter as well. And we We have days, you know, it's like in Star Realms, you'll have days where there's nothing can stop you. You're kind of you're hitting every single yellow card going and you're getting people to discard down to nothing. Yeah. And then other days you'll just get just rubbish.
Viper.
Rubbish after rubbish.
And then that utter mix of, you know, Federation and Machine Cult. It's just like, these two don't work together. They don't do anything. That doesn't help me.
No, not at all. Not at all. But Star Realms, and me and Colin were gonna talk about it on a future episode, but we kind of mentioned it briefly. I'm playing Colin as well. It's become like our little binding game when we've not been able to talk. It's kind of like, but it has led to a bit of animosity, because if I beat him or he beats me before we meet up and actually speak again, it's kind of like, what are you up to? I'm fine. What are you up to? What do you mean? What am I up to? What are you up to, stringing 3 of these ships together and taking me for 36 points, eh? That's that kind of thing.
I hate it when that happens.
I just can't believe it. And he's really, really good. Colin is the type of person, do you know, you just like go, right, I'm at the moment when I'm like, this time when I fight, I'm going to combine green, yellow, and blue.
Yeah.
So that's what cards I'm buying.
And you've got a plan. And
Colin knows the cards. So Colin will go, I'll take this one, this one, this one, this one, and I'll get this one. I'm not going to buy any cards this time. I'm going to buy 2 of the normal bigger ships. Yep. Yeah. Buy that. Next thing you know, he just does a round where he just seems to be repeatedly drawing and drawing and drawing, and then causing me to discard a whole pile of cards, and then he'll string like 4 yellows, 3 blues together, and he'll just like annihilate me. And then he's like, oh, you shouldn't have scrapped that card because that's what lost you the game. And I'm just like,
no.
So Star Realms is the firm favourite at the moment.
Star Realms is the firm, you know, I mean, because it is so quick. We've had games that take 5 minutes, games that take 20 minutes, and it's just set up. We use I think the app from Epic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other game they do to keep track of authority, because using the cards is rubbish.
Yeah.
I get really confused. I've got to use the Epic app to kind of track that. But the other one, Seven Wonders Duel.
I've not played that.
Oh, it's a good game.
Oh dear. What's it about? What happens? Tell me. Tell everybody.
Seven Wonders Duel is a riff on the Seven Wonders, but instead of that drafting mechanic where you take one of the cards from your hand and you pass it on, instead this 2-player version, you array the cards in front of you in a pyramid fashion. Right. So it'll be some face down, then slightly fewer face up, face down, face up. So you've got a rough idea of where the cards are, and then in your turn, you can take any face up card that is not covered. So you have this interesting choice of, do I want that card, or do I not want him or her to get that card? And I want to leave myself open so I get the first pick of the card that is revealed. And
so this is like a pyramid type structure where the cards are over each other, so that you've got to uncover like 2 cards in order to uncover the next one. To
uncover the next one, exactly right. Yeah,
yeah. I played a similar mechanic before in Sons of Lee.
I've not played that one.
It's an old Kickstarter game. Yeah, by Jeffrey Greer, friend of the show, good old Jeff. And and that was the same mechanic. Pyramid of cards. You're removing the cards, and then that's helping you to unleash kind of more cards. Is that kind of how it goes, yeah? Okay.
It kind of how it goes, yeah. And you go through, and that's age 1, and that's where you get most of your raw materials and your low-level military and some of the science cards, much like you do in Seven Wonders. And then age 2 comes around, and the cards get a little bit more difficult and a little bit harder all your way through. But the really interesting thing with Duel is the way the military and science works. So there's this cool little tracker that you put between you. And every time I get a military point, I'm going to move it 1 step towards you. And if I ever get the military tracker down to the bottom spot, you instantly lose and I instantly win with the military victory. Very tricky to do. And if you manage to get 6 of the 7 scientific symbols from the green science cards, you automatically win on a scientific victory. So there's 3 ways you can win this game, or 3 ways you can lose it. And the other way is obviously just much like normal Seven Wonders. You do the point adding up nonsense at the end, which isn't any
that
easier.
Is
but
nonsense. I mean, I remember the one and only time I played Seven Wonders, and at the end, Dave, who was running it, went, "Just give us a second," and he went, and he whips out the phone, and he starts going, "Right, okay," and then he told us to kind of like tell us what we kind of got and the technologies we got and the kind of the structures that we built, and at the end he went like that, and he went, "And Collins won because." Colin always wins these games every single time.
It's a real problem. It's not a real problem. It's an issue with Seven Wonders, especially when you're playing at the 7-player count. Mm-hmm. It takes so long. You finish the game, you just want to know who's won, and you've got to spend potentially 5 minutes totting up all the scores and go, "Oh, all right, you won by 3 points. Well done, Dave."
No,
you're just robbed of all that climax as all the points are just going up and up and up that you can see in other games. But in the duel, it's much shorter, it's much snappier because there's only 2 of you and you can kind of see how everyone's done anyway. Mm. Yeah, definitely worth checking out.
So, as we said, as we alluded to, you've started a new job.
Yes.
It's one of these things, it's like, how do you bring up a subject of kind of something you enjoy to a group of people? Because it is, I don't know how, there's some kind of it's kind of like just stepping in and flying the flag. It's like American History X. Do you have to like take your top off when you've got like a big meeple tattoo?
Well, you saw me take my shirt off earlier, so.
It's kind of like, do you know what I mean? It's almost like, is he not condoning kind of far rightism by referring to American History X? It's like, no. There's a scene in American History X where the lead character is going to prison for a racially motivated attack, and he decides that in order to find out who's friendly, he's going to take his shirt off because he's got a tattoo of a swastika, just to explain that. So and I'm just making it worse. I might have to really, really do some serious editing on this episode. But the whole point would you be just going into the dining hall at lunchtime and
just with a stack of games,
just undoing your tie, taking your shirt off, and then having like a meeple dice tattoo.
Meeple dice, and I've got like the Carcassonne River across my gut,
and just watching the guys over in the corner kind of like go, "Yeah, he's one of us," and just waving you over, and you know everything's going to be fine.
No, it's not like that at all.
But in seriousness, how do you approach it? Do you just bring in games? Do you drop it in a casual conversation?
Being a man, there is a certain expectation that I like football.
Do you?
No.
Senior Dan.
So when they kind of talking in the office on a Monday morning about the game at the weekend, and I say, "Rory, who do you support?" And I go, "I don't really follow football." "Rugby then?" No. Tennis, cricket? So, no, I
darts.
And then it gets to the point where you need to justify what you do with your time if you don't watch sports.
Yeah.
At the point I go, "I play board games." And then they say, "Oh, like Monopoly."
Yeah, that's what I got.
Oh, Jesus. Yes and no. It's a board game, but no.
It's like it's kind of like Monopoly's kind of like cannabis. I'm kind of talking about heroin here.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of talking about. And then go, you take drugs. Oh, well, that's fine. And
that's fine. You do that. Just don't talk to us.
Yeah, exactly. But did you find when you were telling people, was there people that went, "Oh yeah, we do that," or were there people that stared at you like, "He's got something wrong with his face"?
They were very confused by why I would want to play with cardboard and be a grown man and play with cards and meeples. The question of what is a meeple?
Yeah.
That came up, of course.
Yeah. Well, I must admit, I get really confused about people who want to watch 22 millionaires run about a Phil kicking a ball, but you know.
It's mind-boggling, but yeah, no, it's true. So, yeah, they just kind of come up, and they were really nice actually. They kind of asked lots of questions. And,
All right.
Brian, one of the blokes I'm working with, the other day, after talking about Sub Terra, he went home and watched Michael May do a playthrough of Sub Terra. So the following day, we could talk about it.
That's nice, isn't it? That's making an effort.
Top bloke. I made him a coffee for that. So
that's good. Even. Are you gonna take it further then? Are you gonna offer him potentially a bit of cave diving?
I think he'd be up for it. Actually, he seemed very, very keen on getting in on the Sub Terra cave diving.
This webcam's no good. Because I kind of like making. I can sit there and just make subtle faces. And you try to be deadly serious, but I mean that's the thing. It's like it is almost like kind of could I introduce somebody else to the hobby? Could you start them off small? Do you know what I mean? Oh, have you ever heard of Twilight Imperium? No, exactly. What are you doing this weekend?
Yeah, just come around to mine. I'll provide food and snacks and
sleeping
ability to wash. And yeah, we'll play Twilight Imperium.
It's alright, you don't need to call your wife. You're not coming home until Monday. But, no, so Brian seems cool. Brian seems ready to potentially get involved.
He does.
What's the next step with Brian then?
The next step is I might take in one of my kind of small box games and crack it out on the table at lunch.
And what about the small box game?
Afterwards, obviously.
Okay. Do you want to see my elephant impression, or would you like to play some Mind Out? Dear.
We could do that.
We could do that.
So.
But no, I mean that's it. It's like, you know, it's kind of getting people past that stage of thinking Monopoly, which is a fine game in itself, and get them to the point to say, what do you mean you're collecting gems in a mine, or what do you mean you're going cave diving, or what do you mean you're infecting an entire planet, or you're battling in the stars kind of thing. And I don't think people see the kind of the scope of board games.
No, they don't. I think it is easier for those people that play a lot of video games. If you're into your computer games, you can kind of make that leap of how computer games have changed, and especially with board games that are tie-ins, or like Plague Inc., for example, Dark Souls, where they are the board game version of those, and you go, I can get that. They can relate to that, and it's already you've crossed that first barrier of actually board games are really cool, but you will have to deal with other people and not swear at them.
It's alright. I mean, at work, it turned into a joke. I mean, the story's been told on a number of occasions, but it was... The reason the podcast exists was because I was going to the board game club and people were saying, oh, you're going to be playing Magic then with spells and stuff, are you? You're going to be one of those wizards then? Do you roll a d20 and all that nonsense? And I went, no, we're not wizards. And that's where it came from. That's where, that is seriously where, and I joked. And then I went out and got the domain name, and me and Colin were chatting about it, and that's where the kind of the podcast came about. So it wasn't some big meeting. There wasn't blue sky thinking. It was just a simple case that I was sick and tired of people try to do Hagrid impressions and going, you're a wizard, Harry.
You're a wizard, yeah.
Yeah, unless you're Nick Jones, who does it all the time. On Twitter. I do love that picture. Sub Terra was kickstarted. Mm-hmm. Do you partake, sir? Have you been known?
Kickstarter, yes. Yeah. I'm currently sat on 41 projects since June last year.
41?
41. Not all of them are board games. I bought a picnic blanket and some headphones as well.
Which you could play board games on.
Yes.
And you could be listening to music through your headphones.
Whilst playing board games, yeah.
Yeah. Can you see my can you see my hands?
I can't see your hands. Okay, now I can.
Wait, let me put the light on. Okay, can you see my hands? Right, I'm going to tell you how many I've got.
Oh, no, raise them up a little bit higher.
Right, okay, ready? Okay?
Yeah. Still going. No. That's quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No shame.
No, no shame. You're just not going to say it out loud.
Dollar backer. That's what I do.
Yeah, good.
Get involved.
No, I love Kickstarter. It's too much. I did try and take a little break for a little while to save some money, but then this really irritating thing happens. I listen to this one podcast where they get designers on and they wax lyrical about all these awesome sounding games.
Yeah.
And then I go and have to buy them. And then
I'd write a strong letter of complaint.
I might have to. Just go on holiday. Just go on holiday for a fortnight. Just give my credit card a break.
Oh, I've
please.
just got a DM here from Rory. No, I mean, in all fairness, I mean, if you want to get involved in Kickstarter and the pennies, do you know what? I think it's worthwhile getting involved in the experience, and you can do that for as little as $1.
Absolutely.
It's always fun, and the community is excellent. I mean, currently I am basking in the Epoch community, which is Mark Neidlinger's game that his second time round, and the first time round it didn't fund, and the second time round he's at $120,000. And it's just unbelievable. The man is doing so well with the community around him, because there's some people that don't like Kickstarter, and I can understand the people that don't like Kickstarter. But it is becoming the norm for people because I can't imagine me rocking up to a games publisher and saying, "Will you publish my game?"
Do you not?
I don't know. I've got an idea.
I've seen a few of the UK indie scene advertising for people to come. If you've got an idea, come and pitch it to us and talk to us. So I think they're still open to it, and I think it's definitely an avenue. I know that's the route I would prefer to take.
Yeah,
should I ever finish any of the games and actually go right? I want to try and sell it to one of you guys, because I just trying to organise manufacture in China and shipping is going to make me cry. I don't have the skill set for that. I don't have the skill set. I don't want it. I just want to make cool games that people like to play. I don't want to have to run a business, which is what you have to do. And for those guys, and fair play to everyone that does it, you know, whether it's successful or not, it's such a difficult thing to do.
The work that goes into these things is just absolutely... I think if what you don't see when people do a Kickstarter is the amount of time that they're given out of their life to kind of make this work. They can't take... You can't take breaks at the weekend. You can't take breaks during the week. You almost need to hope that a community is there to kind of back you up and answer all the questions, you know?
Absolutely. You've got to have a team just that's always ready to respond, you know, that working through the night, because, you know, the time differences, you know, with China and Australia and Canada and America, you need that presence there constantly. And then you've got all the social media and all the marketing you've got to do before the campaign even starts. Like weeks and weeks before the campaign starts. People have got to know about your game.
Noise.
And already be talking about it.
Just noise, constant noise all the time. But not annoying noise, not spammy noise, just enough people to kind of build up people that say, I'm going to be the champion, I'm going to come and back the game for you kind of thing. Yeah. And it's a difficult thing to do, even for the smallest, not for the big games. I mean, even for the big games. I mean, there's, the Cool Mini or Not campaign. Yeah. Is not at $2 million. No. It's not. I think it's lucky. I think it's over 800,000. And you go in the comments and people are panicking. And I'm wondering why people are panicking. And then I'm just thinking, but you can't be expected. It's doing really, really well. Just because it's not doing millions, what's kind of like the problem?
Yeah. And I think because it's the Game of Thrones one, isn't it? They're working on that. Yeah. I had a look at that as a fan of the books. I mean, I've not backed a Cool Mini or Not project. Because I don't think there's any major value in a Kickstarter from a company that size now. I don't feel I'm going to get anything special from the Kickstarter. If I can buy Rising Sun in 2 years' time in a store.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm going to be missing out on anything. But the Fire and Ice, Song of Fire and Ice did really pique my interest. I had a look, but it didn't seem to kind of have the normal pop that their campaigns have. But it goes to show that there's no surefire recipe. There's no way you can do a campaign and you can guarantee success or failure. Even it's still successful what they're doing, but it's not the same level as what they've had before. And I think it's just proof.
Do you know the worst thing about it is that there is going to be a meeting about this, and somebody's going to get a kind of a talking to, let's say, because it's not currently romping home at X amount.
Yeah.
And the reason for me, do you know that it's really strange because I think because it's a miniature skirmish game, but if you go out and you look at a Games Workshop miniature skirmish game,
yeah,
what they're asking for money wise isn't too different from what you'd be paying for, like, say, Age of Sigmar or something like that. That's like 90 quid, 100 quid. Mm-hmm. They're asking $150, and people are like, to be perfectly honest, I looked at that and I just went, I just can't. I'm sorry, I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't go there. I can't even work away in my head to think that this is going to be, because there's always the chance that when you get, or you do have a reasonable amount of games coming in, right?
There's another quick countdown there.
Another quick countdown there. Are you going to get are you going to get the value out of it? And let's face it, Kickstarter, there's so many good games coming out.
So many.
So many.
I think if I'm lucky, I'm going to have a game a week turning up every week now to see me through until bonfire night.
I'm going to be lucky because I'm going to have plenty to basically be able to bargain with my divorce lawyer. No, I'm only joking. Yeah. I'm only joking. As I say, I generally, for me, I'm one of these horrific people that will come in and do a bit of speculation and have a look, because I like to, because of the type of people that I have on the show, and I get a lot of creators on the show, you end up getting interested in the process, because I'll have a conversation with, say, I'll have a conversation with, like, say, Brad Talton from Level 99, who's like, we've got like 6 projects on the go on Kickstarter kind of continually, we're always pushing new stuff out. And then you've got Jamie who's saying, well, guys, we're not going back to Kickstarter, I'm still going to talk about it a lot, but I'm not going to bother going back out to it. And then there's all the fantastic, wonderful, passionate UK guys that come on and are really kind of doing the UK scene proud with what they're kind of doing. But I don't know, I just find it kind of fascinating. Out of the ones that you've backed, not to put you on the spot, but what would you say are the top couple that you're looking forward to getting your hands on?
I've got the Endangered Orphans of Clondale Cove. Okay. Which should be, if I'm lucky, is going to turn up this week. Awesome. And that I'm really excited about. It looks gorgeous. Dinosaur Island, which is probably going to be closer to September, October time. That's going to be coming in.
Yeah, Pandasaurus,
yeah, that is. I waited until the very last minute for that one.
Did you look at taking up the offer to get Wasteland Express delivery service as well, or did you leave that?
No, I left that. I just went in for the deluxe edition of Dinosaur Island with all my fantastic dinosaur meeples.
Which John Gilmore's been showing off to people.
Oh, they're nice brilliant. I can't wait. I can't wait for that game.
Custom Stegosauruses or Stegosauri, and interesting discussion that happened over the weekend. Is it Diplodocus or Diplodocus?
I would go with Diplodocus.
See, I was going to go with Diplodocus, and my daughter was going to go with Diplodocus, but my son was saying Diplodocus, which is interesting because when I was his age, I also used to say it was Diplodocus. So I'm wondering if that is maybe some kind of genetic thing.
Genetic thing, you know you're a real man when you've grown up.
Thinking it's a diplodocus.
When you so long ago say that, yeah.
I know. Yeah. And the other thing I'm really worried is, like, in about 25 years' time, he's going to have a midlife crisis and then try and start a podcast about board games.
So I'm going to turn it back on you then, Richard. So
right.
what have you got coming that you're particularly excited about?
Catacombs and castles. Let me just go down the list.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. I've got to watch it because I've had half these guys in the show.
Yeah.
If I miss somebody out, I'm going to get an angry email.
City Kings, that one's going to be that. So I mean, that's not going until next year, but yeah, that's going
City of Kings, definitely. Catacombs and Castles, Sub Terra. Just trying to think. Ravage, Dungeons of Plunder.
Yeah, Legends Untold, that one, I'm not too sure. I've lost track of that one when that's coming, but that's going to come soon.
That'll be in, I just can't. There's so many, all of them. That's what I'm looking forward to, all of them. Giant killer robots looks fun.
That did look a lot of fun. I didn't have the capital, I didn't have the spare cash.
I'm just looking, I just had a look. There's a lot, as I say, there's a lot of these ones that I've kind of had a look. That'll be interested to see what they're like when they've actually arrived, because that's the thing, when people start to get their packages.
Yeah.
That's when the fun begins again in the comments section, and you see people talking about it.
Explode, opening, unboxing videos and...
or just the simple kind of board game sellers page where you get the opened cardboard box and the sealed copy. 150 quid, mate, and it's yours. Kind of thing. I remember somebody doing that with Mechs and Minions, and I was like, you're not a board gamer if you're selling that.
Yeah.
You can't be a board gamer if you're selling that. I was playing that over the weekend with my son.
I saw the tweets and I loved your little video reveal.
Do you like that? Do you know the funniest thing about that video reveal was the people that were going, it's obviously fake because you can see where the edit is. It's like, yeah, I know that, mate.
Yeah, it's a joke.
It's kind of like, had to edit it. It's like, this is obviously fake. And then people, and then somebody else, what else did they put? Yeah, you could tell that, and it's like, this is the worst editing I've ever seen. It's like, yeah, that's the kind of the idea. I didn't want people saying I was really going to be spoiling kind of Mechs and Minions. So it was like, oh my goodness. How ridiculous could that be? But it could be worse. You could be Massive Darkness. Just putting that in there. Just give me that bit of paper. I'm going to write some stuff on. What, the black bit of paper? Yes. Go and give me that Sharpie over as well. What, the black Sharpie? Yes, I'm just going to write down these notes. I'm just going to give you my telephone number so you could call me later on. You must be a Massive Darkness designer then. That's so cruel. But, I don't know. People went and actually lost their minds over that. There were people getting really, really kind of antsy and kind of shorty about that, which wasn't that good at all. No, lots of things coming, lots of things happening. It's kind of weird. Do you put on a squeaky voice when you're asking questions?
Not so far.
No. In terms of the retail, then,
do
you chase the new hotness in terms of the retail, or do you find that you're going back and getting the older games that have been out for a while that people have recommended?
Yeah, it's definitely the older games. For new job, as I left the last one, the guys in the office, do the whip round and the card, which was lovely. And no one really knows what to buy me. So I got some vouchers for my local game store, the Games Den. So I've got 50 quid to go down and spend on some new cardboard. And I'm trying to work out what game to treat myself to. And that is,
What's the choice? What's the choice?
Well, I've wanted to get Dead of Winter for quite a while now. I love zombie-ness. I've got a nice growing collection of horror themed board games. And I think that one will fit in quite nicely. And I love co-ops, and I know there's the traitor mechanic, which I think is really going to appeal to me. And it's the Crossroads game, which I haven't got, but I really want. And do I get that game or?
Really good.
But then, do I get that one, or do I get, is it The Long Winter? Is that the secret? Is that like the...
Don't ask me what the title is, because in the first the first episode that me and Colin ever did, we called it The Dark Knight. And then in the second episode, we had to apologise for calling it The Dark Knight. It's actually, I think it's The Long Night it's called.
The Long Night. Okay, so you've got the expansion, which is also a standalone expansion,
yes.
But you can mix them up. So do I just go with that one, or do I go with the original, or do I not get either of them, and do I go for viticulture? I've wanted viticulture for a long time as well.
Viticulture is...
Decisions.
I preferred viticulture over scythe. There you go. Come after me, internet. Come after me. But
I think I will prefer viticulture over scythe. I think I will get viticulture to the table more frequently than I will scythe.
You'll get it played, I think, is the thing more. The thing about scythe that I've discovered about scythe is it's glorious, it's fantastic. You know what I mean? Scythe, if you're going to put it on a numerical scale, is a 57 out of 59. Okay. However, in my eyes, viticulture...
I love the direct stare at the camera, so I can see your eyes.
Viticulture is a 58.
Ooh.
Just because it's one of these things that I could set it up tonight, and I know I'm going to get it through, and still go to bed at a reasonable time and not be Mr. Grumpy Pants in the morning. Whereas if I set up scythe, I'm potentially looking at 3 hours.
Ooh.
And that's just touching, that's potentially touching midnight. And also, if you're sitting for that long, potentially touching cloth as well. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because viticulture is just like bang, bang, bang. It's 20 points, victory points. You know when you've done it. It's quite simple to relax. You can...
Yeah.
It's kind of easy to grasp. Scythe's wonderful though. This is the thing. It's not like they're worse than each other. They're equally as good. But in the choice, viticulture is just... And it's got the single player as well, so you could always play that. And it's a non-gamer thing as well, because I think if you said to people, what are you going to do? Well, we're going to play a game. It's called Scythe. What's it about? Well, it's based in the early 20th century, and you're big steampunk robots gathering resources. Robots. Okay, I'm not interested. But if you said, what are you doing with playing viticulture? What's that about? Well, I'm a wine grower in Tuscany. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a meeple, and if I want to do something, I put it in the spot. Do you have to do anything else? No. Well, I decide when I wake up.
Yeah.
And then it comes to autumn, and I pick a couple of cards, and on the cards, I might be able to do something special, or I might not. Then it comes to winter time, I can bottle up some wine and sell it, or, I can get more workers. And then what do you do after that? You just continue as is.
You just keep doing that.
And you can have a cheeky glass of red. There's no revolution. You don't have to worry about the population's happiness. It's all good.
Job's a good one.
Job is a good one.
So that's on my list as well to get. And then you got Ashes, Rise of the Phoenix Born. I've heard a lot of good things about that. And Arkham Horror LCG.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be right up my street, and I think I can get that to the table a lot as well. That's what I'm really weighing up when I'm going for a new game, is what game do I know regardless of what I personally want, is what game do I know I'm going to be able to get other people to buy in and play with me.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about, isn't it? So.
Well, I played Space Crusader on Friday.
Classic.
I played it on Friday. I got a text. I got a text on Friday from Leo, Mr. Leo, the fabulous Mr. Leo, who basically said that Scott's asking if you're bringing Space Crusade. He says he didn't only call it Space Crusade, he called it my sensuous box of Space Crusade.
Oh, sensuous, but that's about as good as it gets.
Well, I just said, tell him I'll be there. Tell him that the threat is serious. Tell him only the Marines can save us. So that kind of made his night. So we sat and we played Space Marine, and we all lived our nostalgia, and I took lots of photographs and I put them all over the place so people could find them on the different various kind of channels. But you've got a lot of stuff going on. So
got a bit.
A little bit. You've got your writing on Zatu Games.
Yes, I do have that.
You've got your own personal blog.
Yeah, board meetings.
You've got yourself on Twitter, which we've already stopped the podcast and told people to go and follow you on.
Yep, yeah, we have, yeah. And do that. I try and do that as often as I can and not get told off for it.
Challenge Rory at Star Realms.
Yeah, that's going to be happening.
You've probably got one from me already.
It's waiting. I have a look at my phone. It's bleeping. It's bleeping red at me.
It's just saying, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. On a personal note, I'd like to give you a big hearty thanks for all the wonderful support that you've given the show since it started.
You are very welcome.
You kind of, I don't know. I think our first interaction was you dropped me an email.
I did. When I wanted to try and be a big boy and do a podcast.
You dropped me an email, and then what I did was I did the most stupidest thing ever, which was thinking that I was some kind of authority. So I think I wrote you about a 3-page answer.
It was brilliant, yeah. This is what you need to do if you want to start a podcast, but without, if I remember, it was without one pivotal piece of information.
What was that?
I can't remember. I was trying to do it all on a laptop and I just couldn't get it to work. I spent hours and got some friends to kind of Skype in and do this. And I think I told you, I was like, I can't get it to work. I can't record both ends of the conversation. And you were like, oh no, you don't.
No, you don't record both ends of the conversation.
No, you don't do that. You get them to do it and then you stitch the files together.
Yeah. So that was an absolute failure. So the answer is if you do email me to ask for information and advice on how to run a podcast, when you get that response, you delete it.
Yeah. No. You offered some brilliant sound advice.
But then we went kind of from there, and you've been a firm supporter of the show ever since.
I have.
So
well,
and it's just a big thank you. So so where can we find you? Because you've mentioned Twitter.
Twitter's probably the best place to find me.
Okay.
I'm on Facebook, but I'm far more active on Twitter. So that's Rory J Somers. Facebook, if you want to kind of follow what I'm doing on Facebook, it is Rory J Somers.
Okay.
Instagram, which I think there's one picture of Mysterium, is Rory J Somers.
Okay, I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah. That's just me. It's my brand.
Oh dear.
I just said that and it was recorded. And then
that's so cool. Well, you have got a meeple with a little red tie.
I do have a meeple with a little red tie.
That's fantastic. Where'd you get the idea for that from?
Lewis Shaw actually did that for me.
Really?
Yeah, I was just down a little chat with Lewis when I first started. When I first started blogging, I was kind of really started paying attention to other blogs and other kind of content providers, and I came across the Braincrack Games blog and about Downsize and Mind Out, as it was just before it went on to Kickstarter, and started commenting and kind of started kind of a conversation with Lewis that way, and then it just kind of one thing led to another, and I kind of recruited him or asked him to do my graphic design for the website and the t-shirts and business cards and all that. So yeah, he's done a marvellous job. It's absolutely brilliant and I love it.
So what we'll do is we're going to take all the information that you've given us and we're going to put it in the show notes. So we've got notes to show. So we have notes to show. I thought you would get that right, but you fluffed it.
It's because you were pointing at me very aggressively.
Pointing very aggressively. This is what happens when you get the webcam on. Yeah. There's obviously one of the most important questions, which is, if there was a zombie apocalypse,
yeah,
and you were stuck in a board game shop, and you can have any board game from any era.
Right.
And you're allowed to take 3 of them.
3 board games.
And you can assume that on your travels, you will meet between 1 to 7 people. And you'll have unlimited amount of time as well.
Okay.
And you're quick enough. The zombies aren't these aggressive 28 days later to grow zombies.
No.
You don't have to worry. It's like Lewisham on a Saturday afternoon in the shopping centre, basically.
Okay.
Poundland! That's terrible. I've never been to Lewisham. That's awful. That's so bad.
Horrible thing to say.
So bad. It's probably true. So if you're from Lewisham, please confirm or deny the presence of
whether
people.
Whether you have zombies in your town
centre. You have a zombie apocalypse ongoing and you've just not told your local MP. Anyway, but 3 games.
3 games that I've got to take.
3 games you're going to take. 3 games. It's almost like I'm touching the webcam. It's almost like Kirk and Spock in Wrath of Khan. And nobody can see this, so they have no idea what's going on.
No one can enjoy it as much as we can.
No, exactly. The ship out of danger. Yeah, she saved the ship. Anyway, 3 games.
Right. 3 games. Okay, so I'm gonna have to take Sub Terra. I know I've mentioned it a lot, but it's gonna have to be Sub Terra. 6-player count as well.
I'm gonna have to say this: that other cave dwelling games are available. Terms and conditions available on request. What else?
Second game. Oh, I want something more. I want conflict in this second game. I want people to be at each other's throats.
Monopoly it is.
I want to cause a fight in the human compound. Yeah, we'll take it.
Come on, he's
Waggle Dance. I love Waggle Dance. Actually, that's a really nice game. That's a lovely game. I'll take that. Dice placement, and then why didn't I prepare? I should have known you were going to ask me this.
You should have.
I should have done.
But it's better because you're scrambling about the shop and you're getting the kind of doof, doof, doof on the doors of the zombies that are about to come in. Waggle Dance under one arm. Probably Waggle Dance and actually Sub Terra under one arm. What's the left arm doing, Rory?
The last big grab is going to be for Twilight Imperium.
Whoa.
That's going to be the one. That's the one that we can have running in the safe board game room in the human compound, and we can just dip in and out. Go kill some zombies, take a break. Let's go play some more Twilight Imperium.
That sounds fantastic.
That's probably the best plan.
That is the best plan. One day I'll tell everybody my 3, but not
today.
But not today.
What if I ask a question in a really high pitched voice? Will you do it then?
No, I'm not going to stop doing the reply.
Okay.
I'll end up doing Optimus Prime impressions. It's back again.
There he is.
We must find the humans. And he'll go back. This potentially is going to do one of 2 things. Either we're going to end up getting listeners spiking through the ceiling, or this is going to be the last straw.
There will be no more.
There will be no more. We'll just be like, that's podcast over. I had no doubts this was going to be a lot of fun. And
yes,
Mr. Somers, you've definitely not disappointed. I could potentially just leave this running and we could talk for a long time.
Yeah, me too.
But there is. I mean, you have to come back on.
I would love to. I'd love to.
Just have to do it.
Next time I won't mention Sub Terra though. So.
Well, I might have a copy by then, so we can do a review. That's what we'll do.
We'll do.
I'm gonna get Peter on as well at the same time, so we can just say, Peter, we don't like your game.
Try harder next time.
It's too dark. There's not enough luminosity. And we can have him on Skype so we can point the fingers at him as well.
Yeah.
And we can do impressions at him. Mark O'Kine. I only do Mark O'Kine. Nothing else.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody cave in.
Exactly. You're supposed to take the batteries out of that. Look at it. We're lost in the dark. I don't know what I'm going to do. You've got the diver card. I don't know what that's used for. It looks seriously underpowered. Because that was the question on... But anyway, this is beside the point.
Yeah, we're getting off topic.
We are getting off topic. Yeah,
it's not underpowered, though. Diver's wicked. I like the Diver.
See, there you go. The last bit of wisdom that we're going to get from the scholar and the gentleman that is known as Rory J Somers. This has been, as I say, this has been an absolute blast, and I could continue to do this for much longer. But there are only 2 more things to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is. And
the first thing is to remember that we are many things, but we're not wizards. Are we wizards, Rory?
We are definitely not wizards. I'm not a wizard.
No.
I got called a wizard today. I put them in their place.
Did you?
Yeah, someone said I was an Excel wizard. And when I told her, when I looked her dead in the eye and said, I may be many things, but I'm certainly not a wizard, she didn't get it. She didn't get the joke at all.
Send her the link to the podcast.
I'm gonna do it.
Just when we record this, and we can send it out. What's her name? Don't have to tell her. Don't say her name. Don't dox her.
No.
Don't say her name. Don't say her name.
She'll know who she is.
She's
the only woman on the team, so.
Well, I'm going to guess names, and you just give me the nod when I've got it right. Sandra. Sarah.
No.
Julie.
No.
Alright, okay.
That's end. End of that game.
Let's just end that game totally and potentially edit it out because we don't condone harassment. But there is only one more thing to do. Mm-hmm. And that is to say goodbye. So it's a goodbye from the wonderful, the fantastic, the amazing, our We're Not Wizard champion of champions, the fabulous Mr. Rory J Somers. Say goodbye, Rory.
Goodbye, Rory.
You had to. And it's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe, roll 6s. Follow Rory on Twitter. Follow him on Instagram if you want to look at one picture. Check out board meetings. Just keep an eye out because one day there's going to be a game that's going to appear from him, and you're going to all back it and love it because it's going to be as fantastic as he is.
You can't forget though, Richard. You can't forget that if people have enjoyed the show, and why wouldn't they? That they should be leaving you a rating.
Oh, yes, they should. Why? What should they do?
They should go on to iTunes or Stitcher or whatever their podcast provider is, and they should definitely give you a rating that isn't 10, because 10 would make you big-headed, and 1 would make you cry. So you want to go somewhere in the middle. Yeah, somewhere like a 5.
Yes, because 5 is average.
Yes, and you are decidedly average.
I am decidedly average. And check us out in other places. Just Google us. We're Not Wizards. Yeah. You can get us on Instagram. You can get us on Facebook. You can get us on Twitter. You can email us magic@we'renotwizards.com or .co.uk. Yes, I am aware of the irony of using magic@we'renotwizards. Thank you. But until the next time, I think we better finish because otherwise, it's just madness. It's a goodbye from Rory. Say bye-bye. Don't wave, bye-bye. Rory. There's no point in waving. Nobody can see you.
Okay.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, you lovely people. And we'll be sending you sympathy cards in the post for putting up with this absolute madness for the last hour and 15 minutes. But until next time, bye-bye.